This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, let's get started, guys. So, so the last class we just had the PowerShell scripting part. So where we are able to run your multiple commands with the help of your PowerShell script, and we are able to do lot many things with respect to our subscription level. So whatever we run in your command prompt after connecting to your subscription or what are the account in here, so that will be reflected in the portal level as well, right? So now let's go with your main part that's called as your ARM template, nothing but your Azure Resource Manager. Azure Resource Manager templates in here. So these are the actual templates where we are using in your real-time perspective to create the resources. So till now, what we have done, like, either using your portal level or using your AZ CLI command line level in here, or using your PowerShell scripting, all those things are just to reach out to this ARM template in here. But those are not really you will do within your real-time perspective. Probably it may helpful for us in you doing your lower environments, but in production environment is not the way we do it. So we actually do it using your ARM template. So let's discuss this one. So let's go with like a basic example, like like a kind of creating a virtual machine, creating a virtual machine here. So now, guys, can you please list out my things now? What are the different options we require to create a virtual machine here? What are the different resources are required internally to have your virtual machine successfully run in here? Now, if you remember the options,
Subscription, resource group,
yeah, subscription,
resource group,
resource group. What else?
virtual network.
Very good.
If you want to attach any disks,
Okay, disk is already you can go with a virtual
yeah,
network. Your what else? Your storage account, right?
yeah,
Storage account, and your what else? I would say like your different resources, other things like your virtual machine. You menu the name of the virtual machine, what are things you need in here, your resource group, all the things coming up in here, and your virtual networks or network is there, interface, virtual interfaces. So all these things are what
sub,
are different. Yeah. Anything else?
subnet,
What is that?
subnet.
Subnet. Yeah, that comes under virtual network.
Yeah, yeah.
It comes under virtual networks in here. So all these things are basic things which we require in here to have your virtual machine to be created. Apart from this, you also need some kind of your user ID, your password, your image name, right? So to have all the things done. So also what we need. So let me write down here after resource group your image name. You have to provide your image name, what kind of image it is, or like your user ID and your password in here, or like what else, image name, your operating system, yeah, the size is what we have, like what kind of how many vCPUs or how many what is the RAM in here, all those things, your sizes, right? So all these things are what are different, different things which are required to have your to compute your resource group, right? So here these things are what this thing now, these are the multiple things. So now how your ARM template looks like in this looks like in your JSON format. So JSON format, and you know that every JSON format start will be having what are the one of the basic things we have, curly bracket open, and you have a curly bracket close, and everything in between what you have will be having with help of your double quotes and colon. That means it's a key and a value. I would say it's a key and a value, right? This is how you have a JSON format. So similar case, the same kind of format you can have for respect to things in here. Okay, so to have your virtual machine created, in here, what we need your user ID, we need your password, we need your image name, we need a resource group, we need your sizes. So all these things are what? These are the, the initiatives to have your virtual machine create. So here you have two things, or I would say two things in here. So first thing is like we have a parameters. Parameters in the sense what are the initial things we require to complete your virtual machine here. So this is the for to have your virtual machine created, we need sizes for sure. We need password, we need user ID, we need image name, we need resource group. So all those things are what? These are nothing but my comes under my parameters, I would say. Okay. So these are parameters. That means your values which you have to provide to create your virtual machine. So all these things are required to complete your to have a virtual machine here. After this one, to tag to have your network to your virtual machine, to have your storage to your virtual machine, or to have your interfaces to a virtual machine, to have your energy group to your virtual machine. All those things are other things what you're trying to create are nothing but your resources. Resources in here. Okay, so these are the values which you are trying to provide to what? To go ahead and use them to have your virtual machine completed. Okay, these are just the values, not the resources in here. Okay, but along with my virtual machine, what I need my storage account to be tagged to my virtual machine. I need my virtual network. I need my IP address to be tagged to my virtual machine. I need my virtual interface to be tagged to my virtual machine. So all these are what? These are nothing but my resources. Resources to have my complete virtual machine in here. You understood my point, right? So these are just values to be provided to complete the virtual machine, and all of the things are nothing but other different resources to tag to my virtual machine in here. Okay, so now these two things, parameters and resources, and also we have one more thing called here as variables. Variables. So even this also kind of a values which you're trying to provide to complete your resources. So as you said, the subnet name, or virtual network name, or the what you say, the subnet group. So that's something like 10.1.0.0/24 we have done using your when you try to create a virtual network, right? Subnet. Similarly, you'll be having your virtual network as well, VNet. So something like 10 dot no, 0.0.0/16. So this may be providing you around how many 65K IP addresses, and this subnet we pretend to provide you like 256 IP addresses. So this is like we have already gone through all this part earlier. So this is what is the values is been required to complete your virtual network. Okay, so these are variables and these are called as parameters. So what are these? Even these are values to complete your virtual machine, and these are the variable, and these are also kind of values to complete your other resources in here. So altogether you'll be having under resources only. So what are the difference between variables and your parameters in here? So the difference is like here these two will not come for sure. What about these two? You have image name. So image name, it can be kind of a Windows, or it can be your Linux, it can be anything. So based upon the virtual machine what you are trying to create, based upon the things what you're trying to create, this image name will be keep on changing based upon the new virtual machine what you're trying to create in here. Similarly, user ID also will change as per the new virtual machine what you have in here. Similarly, password may also change in here. And sizes, yes, sometimes you can go with the 4 vCPUs, you can go with 8 GB RAM. So with respect to your different virtual machine, your sizes also can change. And yes, your name of my virtual machine, VM name, even this also will change for sure with respect to my new virtual machine what you have in here, right? So what are the things may need to change, may be chance of changing when you try to go with a new virtual machine, when you try to create new things, the things which need to be changed for sure, those comes under my parameters. Okay, but see here, my subnet 1, subnet 2, the name will be same, your virtual network name will be same, and this one, so I'll be using the same, again the same kind of virtual net in here, because within this network I have 65k IP address, so 65,000 virtual machine can be created under the same VNet in here. So this no need to be changed, and even in here this particular subnet no need to be changed, because I can assign this particular subnet to 256 virtual machines in here. So for 256, until we reach 256 virtual machine, you no need to change this particular configuration in here. So this is a fixed one, this is a fixed one which no need to change in here. So parameters are something like where values keep on changing with respect to new virtual machine in here, with respect to new virtual machine in here. But these things are now, the values will be static with respect to all virtual machines in here. So values will be static, with respect to new VMs in here. So the values which are not changing comes under variables in here. The values which may keep on changing based upon the new virtual machine, it may comes under parameters in here. So these are values need to be, these are the values need to be used within your, somewhere within your resources, and these also values which has been used somewhere to complete your resources in here. So but the changes in here is like, no, this comes under parameters and this comes under my variable section. So why this we have, because we are based upon this changing of these values only your actual resource will be created. Okay, so now how the things looks like. So is it like so simply we can see how you have a parameters, your variables and resource simply like this, or do we have any changes in here? So yes, it's not so simple. We have seen here for parameter level, everything what you see in here. So there is a syntax is followed within your virtual machine in here, so within your ARM template. So how it looks like, so something like this. So every parameter or every the key and a value has a kind of a curly bracket open and a curly bracket close. Okay, so now within my image again, within the parameter again, first thing I have my curly bracket open, and of course since it's a parameter, double quotes, colon, and here we have curly bracket open and curly bracket, sorry, double quotes open and double quotes in here. So similarly within my parameter, this is internal options you have in here. So every option contains like this. So again there will be one more open curly bracket, and here this will be image name, or you can simply say image, and here this will be whatever it is. I'm trying to mention my Windows, but probably okay, let me go with this small part as of now. So again, now this is for what? This is my only first entry you have in here. So this is second entry with respect to parameters in here, but that doesn't mean provide a comma. And again, one more curly bracket open, and again you have ID, and here again some ID, something like VRIT admin, for example. Again one more curly bracket close, and one more comma, and again hit on enter. So one more curly bracket. So this kind of stuff is keep on repeating for all of this what you have in here. Okay, So now within this, one of the entry we have, it's not so directly you can see the things in here. Okay, so here something, you have mainly three things. When you're trying to say image, it will asking you, okay, what kind of image it is, what kind of data it is. Is it like, is it like a data type that I have to ask for a data type? Is it like a string data, or is it like a number data? What kind of data you're trying to provide? You can say it's a string because it's just a value. It's a name like value in here. So probably you may not find the value directly in here, but under my image colon, you can have your again one more curly bracket open, or just for now data type versus string, and here you will be having your default value, or I would say value. So I'm not trying to provide exact things, I'm just giving you examples in here. So value will be, yes, now it's Windows, something like this. And also we'll be having one more called as metadata. So this one, what it will do, this will try to help us to provide the information about the parameter value what you have in here. So what is this one? So this is the image, or operating system name for the virtual machine. This is the operating system name for the virtual machine. So for every parameter what you have, you need to have these three things in here. So metadata, your values, I mean the actual value what you need, and what is the data type you're having in here. Okay, the similar kind of stuff you can find for all other things as well in here. So here image, the data type is a string. Since you have under the image, since you have multiple entries, you separate with the commas in here. See, all those things comes under curly bracket close and curly bracket open. So within these two, all those things comes into picture in here. So similar cases you can also find for my other part as well. So here probably your value may not be having in here, but you can write on like this. So data type here as well, string value, probably for user ID you may not find this one, because you cannot mention your user ID or password within your ARM template. It's not secure actually. Okay, for that reason being, you can provide that while deploying it, or you can provide that in a separate parameter file in here. So you may not find this one in here. So this is, this is the user ID for the VM in here. The similar kind of stuff you can also go with the other part. I mean, like, my password as well. So what you have in here. Okay, so for every parameter what you're trying to go with, mainly you have three things: data type, value, and metadata. So for this user ID, data type, you here it's a user ID, and for password you may not find your value in here, but you can find metadata in here. So metadata, what does it mean by metadata in here? It just is information saying that what kind of parameter value it is, for what is the use of this particular parameter, why are you using this particular parameter in your ARM template. Okay, so for every parameter you can see mainly all those things based upon the content. For probably your user ID and password may not have the values, but for all other things, your sizes, your VM name, of the public IP, all those things, you will be having a default data type, value, and metadata in here. Okay, and one more thing to add in here is something, for example, I'm trying to have something called operating system. Okay, so here itself, let me go with something here only, operating system, or okay, here also operating system. So within my operating system, I have one more multiple option called as allowed values. I have allowed values as well. So this is something, it's a kind of your, again you'll be having with respect to the curly bracket open, and here you can see allotment, because it's not only Windows, only one thing you have, right? So you have Windows latest, you have Windows generation 2, you have Windows 2022 generation 1, so you have Ubuntu systems, you have Linux systems, you have lot many things in here. So you can mention each and every all the options in here. So Windows latest in here, or like this has been separated by comma again, and you can see how Windows generation 2 or 2022, something like this, or you may have Ubuntu system like latest. So you have lot many options. You can choose multiple operating systems in here. So what are these are? All these are nothing but like your kind of allowed values you can mention within your or ARM template. So these particular allowed values will be coming into picture only when you're trying to go, when you're trying to create your ARM template, or when you're trying to deploy your ARM template using your portal level. So in that scenario, in the portal level, when you have allowed values option available for the particular parameter, then you can see a drop down list. So why? Because the allowed values means it's helping us to select other values as well. By default, it will be showing you Windows latest. By default, it will be by default showing Windows latest in here. But you can also have an option to choose other operating systems as well. So this option will be coming into picture. Your drop down list will be coming into picture in your portal level only when you have allowed values option involved within your parameter of a particular value in here. If this is not there, that means then automatically what will happen, you have only one thing, to choose. What is that? Your Windows latest, and only this is the thing you can go with, nothing more than that. But if you want to choose more thing, then yes, we do have allowed values as well. So every parameter what you have, mainly you'll be having data type, the value, and the metadata. These three, or I would say, data type and metadata are mandatory to have for every parameter. Value may be optional to based upon things. For example, you are going with user ID and password. For user ID and password, I will not mention my, the value directly from a user ID and password within my ARM template. It's not secure. I will not do that. Or at the same time, you may also find allowed values if you have multiple options to select it. Understood, right? So this is the thing. So mandatory will be having data type and metadata. Optionally, you may have allowed values. And most of the cases, apart from user ID and password, most of the cases you'll be having your value for sure. But only for user ID and password, you may not find value in here. So this is how your parameter looks like within your, within your ARM template. And coming to my variable section, it's of static values, right? So you can directly see subnet, this is a value, vnet, this is a value, subnet name, or this is something, VRIT subnet one, something, this is the name of my subnet. So it's a static values you have in here. So these value will not, you will not see any kind of, as you saw your data type, your value, your allowed values or metadata, you will not see for such kind of things with respect to my variables in here. It's a direct and straightforward one in here. Okay, but only when you're talking about my parameters, then only based upon the value or based upon the parameter what you're trying to go with, you can find your data type, value, allowed values, and metadata. So these are the four things you may see, but mandatorily data type, metadata, value, mostly for user ID and password only you will not see, but apart from user ID and password, every other parameter will, you can see a value in here. And allowed values again only when you have multiple options to choose, and you can have this particular option, coming to picture only when you are trying to deploy your template within your portal level. But if you're going with some other things, then it's a waste of having this option here, because you may not have option to choose your multiple generations or multiple operating system what you have in here. You can directly mention what operating system you want to go and use for this particular virtual machine in here. So this will come into picture only when you're trying to go with the portal level. I'll show you that one part in here. Okay. So any questions guys up to this level? Your parameters and your variables. Okay. So now let me go ahead and let me show you the actual ARM template now, where so that you can understand the things in here. So we came to know that to complete your virtual machine, the parameters we know, we have an image name, you have a user ID, you have a password, we have a VM name, we have a sizes, all those things. So let me open my actual ARM template what I have in here. So this is my actual ARM template. So this is, there is a kind of a metadata. I mean, this is a kind of supporting things. You can forget about that. See, starting from here, parameters. How it looks like: double quotes, parameters, double quotes, and colon. So from parameters, I would like to start. I would like to have my things, starting with my all of my options what I have in here. So I would like to see after parameters. I'm trying to go with my again curly bracket open. My first parameter, the related stuff for that. My second parameter and my related stuff for that. So similarly here as well. See my first parameter. My first parameter is admin username. So what is asking you? It's asking you data type and it's asking you metadata. So under my metadata again what you have? A description. So this is the description kind of saying that username for my virtual machine. So this is your first entry of your parameter. So first enter username. So it doesn't have value in here as I told you. So you have data type and your metadata. Within your metadata again we have your description part, so that it helps us to understand for why we are using this particular parameter in here. This is a username for your virtual machine in here. Second thing again you can see separated by comma, you have admin password, and here as well, and here as well you can see type, and here the time to extracting minimum length. So because the password should be minimum length 2012 and the maximum is 123 characters, so you can mention min length in here as well. So everything what you see in here, double quotes and double quotes is a JSON format in here, and metadata, and even in here as well you don't see a value provided for my admin. So user ID and password which is separating by a comma, you will not find any values in here. But if you come after that, so see here, I can see DNS label prefix in here. I can see public IP name. So public IP name, this is other parameter you have in here. The type is a string. See default value. The value will be provided in here within my double quotes, my public IP, and this is a metadata. So name for my public IP used to access my virtual machine. So it's a public IP name. Based upon this your IP addresses will be created internally. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to mention: your data type, your default value, and your metadata. Similarly, see here is the other parameter. You have public IP allocation method. Type default value is dynamic, but at the same time, and you also see metadata in here. You can see allocation method for the public IP used to access a virtual machine. So allocation method dynamic. Your IP address can be anything in here. I'm not going with the static things in here. If you go with static, that means you're trying to reserve your IP address. If you're trying to reserve your IP address, you have to pay for your cloud, because you are having your reserved IP address in here, right? So for by default will be dynamic and leave as it is. But you can see something like allowed values. Allowed values means, boss, it's not only like I can go with dynamic, I can also choose static as well. So this particular part, as I told you, will coming into picture only when you're trying to go with your portal level. Then your portal level, based upon this particular parameters, you can have a form created, and with respect to that particular form I can see drop down list with respect to my this particular parameter public IP allocation method. So under when you click on drop down list, I should see dynamic as well as my static. But default you can see dynamic. If you want to keep as it is, leave it, or else go to the drop down list, choose your static within your portal level. I'll show you that when you try to create it. Okay, so allowed values or only coming up to picture, only this will be helpful for us when you go with your portal level only. But if you're trying to go a normal way, I mean, by writing a SE commands, all those things, then this things is not really helpful for us. You can go just have the part like this. This is more than enough. I mean, this even this also works for us. Okay, so all our values. So public IPS queue again. See data type, default value, the basic. At the same time, also have standard. I can choose standard as well. For that reason being, I have allowed values. And finally, metadata. So SKU for my public IP address to access my virtual machine here. So what kind of SKU we want to go with. And if you see here, operating system, OS version, type is string, default value is 2019 data center generation second. At the same time, you can choose these many options are available in here. You can choose any one of these. This is for Windows system. For that reason, you can see all the options with respect to my Windows only in here. So if you want, you can add your Ubuntu systems as well with respect to your allowed values in here. So you can see all these allowed values within your portal level in here. By default, it will try to take this the one as your virtual machine, Windows virtual machine here. And metadata, as usual, metadata description, the Windows version for the VM. This will pick the fully patched generation image to given Windows version in here. So metadata, your default value and type are, you can see move for most of the parameters in here. Allowed value, you can see only if you have multiple options. If it is static, then we don't see. See, if your example, here's standard. Even here you can use allowed values. So because within the VM size, we have multiple VM sizes. We can, based upon each size, we can, your RAM, your vCPUs will be changes automatically. So even here you can add your own allowed values in here, so that you can choose multiple standards, multiple sizes with respect to my VM size in here. But currently we have only one value. You can choose in this value directly in here. Similarly, location. See, type is string. Default value here, I'm not providing my static value in here. I'm not providing any, hard-coded value in here, but I'm trying to pull my location name from where? Resource group. So what are the resource group you mention, and the from which location your resource group has been created, based upon that location name will be pulled from a resource group and it will be mentioned in here. For that doesn't mean they're saying that resource group dot location. And again, similarly, other parameter is called VM name. See, type, default value, and my metadata. So with this, my parameters are ended. So all these are what? These are nothing but I'm trying to declare my values for my different parameters, so that these values can be used while creating my resources. So when you try to create a virtual machine, it will ask you what's the name of your virtual machine, what name you want to provide for your virtual machine here. So that name can be taken with my parameter VM name in here. So this is simple VM. This is the name it's been trying to go, and based upon this particular name, your virtual machine will be created. Understood? Similarly, when you're trying to create a virtual machine here, in which location you want to create in here. So again, the location will be trying to taken from this particular parameter in here. Under this particular parameter, what it is showing? It is showing that the location name should be resource group dot location. That means whatever the location you are trying to use for your resource group, the same location should be used for my parameter location as well, and the same value will be used to create your virtual machine in here. Okay, so these are what all these nothing but my parameters. See, so even though so huge by rolling up the pages in here, but so simple now. So every parameter contains type, metadata, only user and password you may not see the things, but apart from all the other part, you can see type, default value, and your metadata. So default value in here, they're trying to derive the value from using some logic in here by using some resource group. See, mostly you're using a parameter value name, using resource group ID, they're trying to derive the value as a default value for what? For DNS label prefix in here. Okay, so this is their own logic. So you don't need to make any changes in here. Let them take the own logic in here. So every parameter content type, default value, metadata mostly. Very few, or with respect to the requirement, you may have extra part that is nothing but called as your allowed values. So this will come into picture only when you're trying to use your portal level, or else it's not really useful in here. Allowed values, this particular option, you can remove it if you don't want to go with even in the portal level, it's not required even. But just to make have more to have more options, we have allowed values in here. This is optional. If you want, you can go ahead. So based upon things you have in here. So every parameters, what does it contain? every parameter will contain mainly three things. What is that? One is your type, or I would say data type. What is the data type you have in here? And second thing, what is your default value you have for the particular parameter? And third thing is your metadata, just for have information about the particular parameter in here. And also sometimes you may find allowed values as well, means that the other options you can choose instead of having only one value in here. So when you want to have multiple, if you want to choose multiple different values for the same parameter, then you can go with the allowed values in here, but it's up to your requirement. So these are the four things mostly you can find for every parameter in here. And again, based upon the content, user ID, no value, I cannot mention my value over there. Password, I cannot mention my value over there. But so based upon the requirement, you can go it in here. So every parameter contains these four parts in here. Hope you understood, guys. So any questions up to this level? Your parameter section, you're just declaring the values only. I'm not trying to create any resources yet. So I'm not into my actual resource creation of actual resources yet. I'm just into what? Declaring my values. That's it. Not more than that. So all these are what my parameters, my different parameters you have in here. My VM size, my location, the VM name, all these things, my OS version, the metadata, the public IP SKU, all this nothing but I'm trying to declare my parameter values. That's it. I'm trying to keep my things ready before applying the main logic. Okay. So next we have variables. So as I told you, variables are, a kind of hard-coded values. So see here, your virtual network name, my VNet, your network security group name, default energy, subnet prefix, your subnet name, your address prefix, your main virtual network name prefix in here, your my VM network interfaces in here. So these are the static values, your storage account name. So they have been again deriving the name of your storage account based upon your resource group dot ID in here. So based upon the resource group what you provide, based upon that your things will be created in here. Your account storage account name will be created in here. So they're using some boot diagram, some kind of format, some kind of logic internally it's happening, and they can derive the name of your storage account with the help of this particular logic what they have in here. Okay, so these are all static. So variables are nothing but static in here. So you will not change these things for every virtual machine, but you may need to go with change of VM name for sure. We have to change your location for sure. We have to change your VM size for sure, and you may have option to choose any one of the things in here for sure, right? So when you're trying to have your things changes, those comes under my parameter, and when you have a static values, so those things will be coming under my variables. So values keep on changing with respect to new virtual machine, is parameters, and the values which will be started with respect to new virtual machine we call as a variables in here. So this is about your parameters and variables. So variables are very few we have in here, and this is what we can see. So now until this level, what we have done, we just declare the values. Either it can be parameter or it can be a variable section. So what next? So next is like the actual one. I need to go ahead and I need to create my resources. So what I have in here? Under first resource, I have my storage account. So see here again, type, what kind of type resource, the type of resource you're trying to create. It's a storage account, it's a virtual network, it's a virtual interface, it's a virtual machine, the type in here. API version, you can ignore this one. So it's just for a standard purpose only. The name of my storage account now, next thing. Okay, you're trying to create my storage account, very good. What's the name? So they're saying that for name, try to go to variables, and in that variable you can find storage account name. Try to take that name and mention it in this particular place in here. So what is the variables now? I'm trying to go top. This is my variables. In this variable, where you want to go? Storage account name. Yes, I can see my storage account name in here. So for this one, this is some based upon the logic, there will be some name derived, and that name will be used under this particular in place of my this logic in here. Okay, so that name will be provided for my storage account to be created. Similarly, okay, you want to create, this is the name you are trying to provide, very good. In which location you want to create. So we know that every resource what is been used to create a virtual machine, or even your virtual machine which is being created, all those things should be under same location of your resource group location. For that reason being, for location, saying that go to parameter section, and inside that you can find location, pull the values from there and place it over here. Okay, let me go to parameters. So this is the parameters I'm trying to go with. In this, I'm trying to look for location. This is not location. This is not the location in here. This is not the one. This is not the one. And I'm trying to scroll down. This is even not the one. OS version. Yeah, I can see location now in here. So what you have inside this? Default value equals to resource group dot location. That means whatever the location you are using for your resource group, that location you have to pick from here. For example, east to west, then the east to west value will be picked from here, from location, and will be used under my where is that, under my where is my resources. One second, guys. So yeah, resources. So in here under my storage account, I'll be using east to west in here. So for location, it's mentioning over there as what? As is resource group dot location. So what are the location you use for resource group? The same location will be used in here. And skew, yeah, it's a hard coded value in here. Kind, it's a storage account, and that's it. With this one, you can create your storage account, because for storage account, the main part what you require, the name, the location, the SKU, when it says LRS, ZRS, GZRS, right? The redundancy, what kind of redundancy you want to go with, and what is the kind? It's a kind of a storage system in here. So these things are required to complete the first resource, my account, storage account in here. Similarly, so with this one, you can go and try to complete your storage account. Similarly, we have virtual network. So similarly, we have to create your virtual interfaces. Similarly, we create your virtual machines in here. So the same thing in here. Next level is like your public IP addresses. Yes, I'm trying to create my public IP address. So again, type is a public IP address I'm trying to create in here. So what is the name? Go to the parameters. You in that you can see public IP name. What is the name you have over there? Put it over here and try to create your public IP address in here. So this is just a name for the IP address what you're trying to create. So within my parameters, where I have to go? Public IP name in here. And again for location, see the same location. Again, it's asking me to go with the same parameter location. Here as well, they're asking to go with parameter location, because I don't want to create my any resources to any other different location. Everything should be under same location in here. So again, go to parameters and public IP name, and for SKU, go to parameters, public IP SKU in here. The same thing. You can go on the top. Yeah, public IP SKU is a basic version, and public IP name. Yeah, public IP name is a my public IP. So this name will be taken from here and will be used under my second resource, my public IP address in here. So it will be public IP here in public IP name in here. Okay, the same thing. So similarly, I need to create my network security group. This is the other resource. Again, there are going for name, location, and all the security roles, all the things we have in the inbound ports. So you can choose your inbound, direction is inbound, destination port range. You can add what are the ports you want to go to allow access to your things in here. You can say, okay, it's a 443 port or 80 port. You can add what are the ports you want to go with. So it's a range, right? So you can simply say it's not with the comma level. You can go with range. You can simply say 80 to 3389 between any port number what you're trying to come from. So that can be allowed. That will access, you can access your virtual machine here. So all the things. So actually you have virtual network. Again, your name, your location, and all those things. So subnets, see, this is the internal part with respect to my virtual networks. Virtual network is one thing, and under my virtual networks, I have to create my subnets as well in here. So subnet, again variables, all this comes up in the picture. And finally my virtual interfaces. So again name, my location, my properties, you have something allocation method dynamic. So you already have all those things. And finally I have my virtual machines. So here for name, go to parameters, see what you have the VM name, pull it from there and keep it here. Similarly my location, my VM size. So my VM name, my admin pass, user ID, my password. So what you have over there, use it here to access my virtual machine here. So everything what you're trying to create, with that we can end up your some things we have, you can end up your ARM template. So overall, what you have in here, you have your parameters where each one derives your own value, and you have your resources where the values what you derive are been using within my resources what you are trying to create in here. That's it, nothing more than that. So overall, for every ARM template, I would say mainly you'll be having every ARM template will be having mainly three things. What is that? One is your parameters, second thing your variables, and third thing is your resources. So I would say resources is the mandatory one which you have to go, and this one is really mandatory. This is just for assigning the values. So why can't I directly go in here? So instead of getting the values from my from my parameters, I can directly write down my values in here. I can simply say that, okay sir, linux -vm, or instead of getting the things from parameter over there, I can simply say that it's a VRIT, admin is my user ID, or my password. I can simply mention that here, capital VRIT, admin at the rate of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, whatever it is. So I can do it, man. Even hard coding the values also it happens, right? I can do it. So it's not really mandatory to pull the values from parameters or pull the values from variable. I can directly go ahead and I can put my values in here. But why you're trying to go with the variables and parameters? Because in tomorrow, going forward, when you want to create a new Linux machine, then what you have to do? You have to go to each and every pinpoint of your resources, make the changes to your values in here, which is not really good to have, and it's also a hectic part when you want when you're trying to do all such kind of things in a manual level in here. So to make it more simpler, what you are trying to do, we no need to touch your actual resources in here. Just go and make the changes with respect to parameters and variables automatically, and new values will be taken and will be placed in my resources, and my new virtual machines will be created in here. Okay, so variables and parameters are, I would say, it's purely optional. It's not really mandatory to have this in here. It's optional in here, but which is mandatory? Your resources are mandatory, because based upon this only your actual resource, your actual the virtual machine or whatever you're trying to go create, those things will be created in here. Okay, so that's the part of your ARM template. So I hope you understood at least the basic understanding of ARM template, what we have inside it. So what are different things we have? What are embodiment parameters? What do you mean by the variables? What do you have within your parameters again? What are the different things we have? Why do we have all those things in here? And how these things have been used within my resources level. So just a basic thing. So overall, if you see here, it's very huge. So very huge. So if you see, it's a very big template you have in here. But if you try to see clearly, you can see a very small thing on parameters with all the values they're trying to define in here. And you have your variables. Later on, after parameter, you have variables in here. We're trying to provide you static things. And finally, you have resources where these values are being used under my, to create my resources in here. That's it, nothing more than that. So only these three things we have: parameters, variables, and resources, where the values of parameters or variables will be used under my resources to have my resource created. Understood, guys? So this is like overall a basic understanding of ARM template. So if you want to go more clearly, okay, I'm not able to scroll up or scroll down. This may be looking me a little bit difficult to understand. Not a problem. We have a very easy other method to view your ARM template. But before going to that, I would like to you people to confirm whether you are able to understand at least the basic idea on ARM template, what we have inside it, and what you have your parameter values, all the things in here. Yes, guys. Uh, any questions on this particular part? Okay. So now, yeah.
So Sham, here, for all these things, right? So the parameter values and all those things. First, we have to log into the portal and get the values, right? Or how we will know so what value will be there and what? Because
So
when
that's
we create manually from the portal, so we select will drop downs, right? So
uh, yeah. See, this is what I pulled it here. You what is seeing in here. So everything I pulled from Google. Okay. So you can easily find that in Google. Let me show you one thing. But what values you have to put, what is the name you have to put, all those things those details will be keep getting from your business analyst. BS, because those are the people who are trying to guide you, because we are just what, we are just developers, so or we are just trying to DevOps purposes who are trying to create your resources for you. But what the name should be there, what size you have to choose, everything, because we do not know the actual business. So I don't know what kind of application they're trying to run. I don't know how many customers may be using this particular application here. So of that reason being, each and every pinpoint will be known by your business analyst. He is the actual one who will be sitting to with your client. He'll be having kickoff meetings, and he's the one who try to understand the requirement of the client. So he'll be asking all the questions, and based upon that, he is the one who recommend us to use this so and so options, so that your application will be up and running. So if supposing there's a YouTube, for example, just in case, it's a very huge application. But if you choose, if as per my wish, I chose just only like 1 GB of RAM, or it's only like around 500 MB of hard disk. Do this really helpful to complete my, or to have my smooth run of my YouTube application? No way. So this is very huge one. I need very huge database, or the storage what we have. Even the RAM should be there. The IOPS, input operations per second, it should be very huge, so that multiple users can handle my application or can use an application single same point of time. So this is not be decided. This is we'll be getting the details based upon the from your business analyst, where you can go ahead and you can create your resources in here. So now, with respect to my ARM template, see here, ARM, okay, template for ARM template for VM in Azure. So see here, I can see create Windows VM for template. You can choose this, and here, so this is the JSON format. The same thing what I showed you, I just pulled from here only. So parameters, your admin, your user ID, your prefix, your public IP name, all these things are what your parameters, and each one has their own type, default value, allowed values, and your metadata. But just explain the same thing. See, PM size, location, VM. This is the standard format you have. So what you do is like you have to, this is the variables you have. So you have to make sure, is it like meeting your requirement or not? So is it like, they want to go and have the, the subnet prefix in your 10.1 or 10.2 or 10.3 or 10.0. So this may be changed. These values may be changed. So this is by default values you have in here. By default, when you create your virtual network, you can start 10.0.0. But what we have done, I am trying to create from 10.1 or 10.2. I try to create my own network in here. And again, internal to that, 10.1.1, my own subnet. 10.1.2, second subnet of my same network. So you can provide your own name in here. You can provide your, this is the default names you have. You have to override the names as per your requirement what you have in here. So the same thing. See, I can show you the resources, all the things part in here. Okay, so this particular template what you see with respect to my virtual machine, or you can also find a similar kind of script for my, for example, I would say my storage account. For example, I want to have my things ARM template for Azure storage account, Microsoft. So for everything you have all things available in here, guys. See, this is the resources. So here it's is asking you the multiple things. You can go and you can just use the JSON format what you have in here. The storage account, the kind. This is not the. This is something. This is a bicep. This is JSON one. This is the one you have to go with. So JSON one. This is the one which helps us to create. You have to create using this one. You can create a storage account in here. Okay, so this is your ARM template for creating of a storage account. Similarly, you'll be having to create your app services as well. For everything what you have, so ARM template for app services. So you can create your app services as well with respect to my based upon my ARM template. See, this is JSON format we have in here. The SKU, so, we chose F1, or F1 is for free, but we can choose the other one, the SKU level. The .NET, the kind of runtime task, what you're trying to mention, is it like a code or so resource group? So all the things what you have in here. So this is for what with respect to my kind of app services you want to create in here. Okay, so everything you have a ARM template, guys. You can, this is what I just showed you. This is with respect to my virtual machine. The similar kind of stuff you can go ahead and you can create for my storage account, or you can create for my the other things as well. You can create see the LRS. See, if you remember, we chose like standard LRS. So we have LRS in here. By default, they tend to go with ZRS. LRS we have, ZRS we have, ZRS we have. So premium LRS we have. So all the things are what the kind of redundancy you want to go with the storage account. If you remember, we have all those things done earlier. So the location where you want to go with the unique storage account name. So they're trying to generate the name of your storage account with the help of this particular syntax in here, the resources. So under resources, they're trying to create a storage account name in here. So I don't do anything. Yes, see, I don't have anything else in here. So only one resources for my storage account. What is the name of your storage account? Where, which location you're trying to go with? What is the SKU you're using inside the storage account in here? That's it. So based upon this, your storage account will be created successfully in here. So similarly, you can have your other parts, your app services, as I told you. So I'll no, this is like so this is the parameters. The web application name again. See, type, default value, minimum length, and metadata. Location, type, default value, metadata. SKU, default value, metadata, type. So all these are what my the kind of parameters. These are my variables. So here they're trying to have some plan names. And if you remember, when you're trying to create your app services, provide the plan name. But default, you can easily pull that. So that's it. So resources, you're trying to create your parameters, the SKU, and only here as well, only one parameter, only one resource I believe. That's nothing but your the type is server, farms, nothing but your app service only, nothing more than that. So you have to provide your plan name, and you have to provide your location, you have to provide the SKU, so kind where you want to provide your system, is a Linux system or your it's a Windows system. So it's the same thing. So because all these things comes under my with respect to my app services in here. So I'll try to provide you. See, all these things available in Google only. So you don't worry about, is it like I need to create my ARM template? No, not required. So you have a default templates available in Google, but you have to make the changes as per your requirement, and you have to create your own resources within your subscription level where you're trying to work on. Okay. So, but how can you do? So here we have two types of things you can go with. Either you can go with your portal level, or you can also run the things using your AZ commands. So tomorrow I will try to show you how can you read your ARM template more easily. So today, okay, you saw the parameters and you saw a lot many things, but what happened, you have to scroll up and scroll down for everything. So it's very huge template, so you can't see in a single window. So how can I can read my ARM template more easier? How can I see all of the things in a single page? So what do we have inside that? So what do you have? Any option to read my JSON format or my ARM template more easier? Yes, we do have. So we'll try to see all those things in your tomorrow's class. So where I'm trying to explain the same thing again, but I'll try to show you a more easier method to understand your JSON format. So that you can easily understand and you can read the things easily. You are able to see what are the different options are available and all the things in here. Okay, we'll see all those things in tomorrow's class. So I'll provide you the ARM template, or you can download from Google. Not a problem. I just showed you. So everything is the same. But anyway, I'll try to provide you the same things what I have with me, so that you can go ahead and you can deploy the things for you with respect to your, subscription what you have in here. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay then, guys. Then we can wind up for today. We'll meet tomorrow with more other concepts on your ARM template, and we'll see how can you deploy that using your portal and your AZ commands. We'll see how it goes from there. Thank you, guys. Then have a great day, and we'll meet tomorrow.